Fair use notice. This is an Omega Watchman Media Group production. All music is owned by Omega Watchman Media Group and a Watchman of the Sword. All news clips, videos, and articles are used in the proper context of fair use. Full legal action and remedies will be sought against any person or media group, including YouTube, if the videos are flagged for copyright, not monetized, or blocked from search results. Courts originally presumed that if use was commercial, it was an unfair exploitation. They later abandoned that assumption due to many of the possible fair uses of a word listed in Section 107's preamble, such as uses for purposes of news reporting are conducted for profit. Although courts still consider the commercial nature of the use as part of their analysis, they will not brand a transformative use unfair simply because it makes the profit. Accordingly, the presence of advertising on a website would not in of itself doom one's claim to fair use. Notwithstanding the provisions of Sections 106 and 106A, the fair use of a copyrighted work, including such use by reproduction in copies or phonorecords or by any other means specified by that section for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. Moreover, if the original work or use of it has news value, this can also increase the likelihood that the use is a fair use. Although there is no particular legal doctrine specifying how this is weighed, several court opinions have cited the newsworthiness of the work in question when finding in favor of fair use.
We may thrust them forward into the future, but the course will always be theirs to choose.
Celine wants all kids to find themselves, not just her own. And she hopes her partnership with New will help. The clothes in her new line are gender neutral. They couldn't find clothing for their own kids.
Fashion has the power to shape people's minds. We're at Celine Nunu trying to shape the future of all human beings by saying, find your own individuality.
We bring a new order as a concept
into the world.
Bring a new order as a concept.
California Governor Jerry Brown has signed a law that lets transgender students use public bathrooms according to the gender they identify with. So boys who think they're girls are now free to use girls' bathrooms and vice versa. The new rules also apply to school showers, locker rooms.
The Department of Public Safety's Driver and Vehicle Services Division says as part of its new Real ID compliant driver's license system, drivers can choose from 3 options: male, female, and non-binary. The division says licenses will either have an M, F, or X in the gender section.
We miss the past. They dream of tomorrow. We may thrust them forward into the future, but the course will always be theirs to choose.
The first time I brought them to Disney, I thought they were going to go for, the big superheroes. They were looking at princesses. And they all wanted to be, Minnie Mouse. And then I said, but what about Mickey? And then I'm saying to myself, you know what? It's okay. You know why it's okay? Because they're talking. They're finding themselves.
We may thrust them forward into the future, but the course will always be theirs to choose.
Celine wants all kids to find themselves, not just her own. and she hopes her partnership with NuNuNu will help. The clothes in her new line are gender neutral.
Some parents might be a little worried or concerned seeing their child put on their heels or put on their nails.
I'm not here Celine Dion singer who's got 3 kids, who's going to tell the world right now, you should do it this way, you should not do that, this is wrong. Listen, I'm not doing that. Let them tell you what they feel like.
NuNuNu has been around for years. Its founders created the fashion line out of necessity when they couldn't find clothing for their own kids.
Fashion has the power to shape people's minds. We're at Celine NuNuNu trying to shape the future of all human beings by saying, find your own individuality.
We bring a new order as a concept
into the world.
You know what? You don't know what they're going to become later. And you don't want for them to have psychologiquement a problem of growth and say, I'm supposed to be like that, I'm supposed to say that, I'm supposed to dress like this because I'm a guy, I'm a boy, I'm supposed to do. No, you don't know. Let people be who they are as quick and as soon as possible.
Come on, that's gold. It's like the greatest commercial for clothing I've ever seen.
Celine Dion is a fantastically trusting person because she obviously has people in her organization that tell her the weirder you are, the cooler you are.
This is her like leaning into her persona.
Yes.
I think like that's Mariah Carey does a little bit.
This is way above and beyond though. Like this is, they have figured out that if you make Celine weird, then people eat it up, and it doesn't affect her reputation negatively in any way. All of this stuff makes the woman far more endearing than she ever has been, because she is just somebody that you never thought would even have this side, and the fact that she's bought into it fully is incredible.
Yeah, Jose says hilarious. Amory says hilarious and genius. Dexter says her getting tackled just took me out. You wondered too after the Deadpool thing. Yeah, I feel like this is her embracing this whole kind of persona.
But this was before Deadpool it started. She's got some weird...
that got such a great reaction. I feel like now she's just going to go full out into this world.
She started, like, the Deadpool was almost, I thought, was the peak of her sort of eccentric rebirth that we all love.
Oh, so good. Jason says she's like Will Smith. I don't know what that means, but sure, I'll take it.
Oh, so good. Jason says she's like Will Smith. I don't know what that means, but sure, I'll take it.
California Governor Jerry Brown has signed a law that lets transgender students use public bathrooms according to the gender they identify with. So boys who think they're girls are now free to use girls' bathrooms and vice versa. The new rules also apply to school showers, locker rooms, and other facilities. The Pacific Justice Institute is vowing to help students who feel violated by the new law.
We at the Pacific Justice Institute stand ready and willing to defend anyone who will be victimized as a result of this new law. That includes someone whose privacy rights are violated in the bathroom, in the locker room, in the showers, or someone who is prevented from playing on a sports team because someone from the opposite gender took their place.
Now, if you want more information, go to cbnnews.com. We've got a link to the Pacific Justice Institute's Gender Insanity website where you can speak out about that new California law.
IDs will basically be the same. One detail on the card is different.
And Fox 9's Maury Glover has more on the addition that officials think better represents all Minnesotans. Maury?
That's right. Most of us don't think twice about the gender on our driver's license, but for some Minnesotans, this is the day they've been waiting for.
Here's another cabinet.
In his 27 years, Medicine Lake volunteer firefighter Minnesota Jay Zappa has identified as both a man and a woman. But lately, Zappa feels more in between. And now Zappa's driver's license will reflect that.
Maybe you could say I'm a shade of gray in a world of black and white.
Zappa grew up male, a fact that is shown in the gender section of an old driver's license. But a few years ago, he transitioned to female, which is also indicated on her license at the time. But when Zappa applied for a new Minnesota license, the temporary one says non-binary, undersex, for the first time.
It was just frustrating because I most recently had an F on it, and I would show it to someone, and they'd say, well, you're dressed like a man, or you have a deep voice, or we don't believe this is accurate, they'd say this isn't your license.
The Department of Public Safety's Driver and Vehicle Services Division says as part of its new Real ID compliant driver's license system, drivers can choose from 3 options: male, female, and non-binary. The division says licenses will either have an M, F, or X in the gender section, and that it was a business decision to offer a 3rd option to better serve all Minnesotans.
I feel good. I know other people have accomplished this in a few other states. It started on the West Coast a couple years ago, and more and more states are recognizing that non-binary people exist and that we ought to be legally recognized.
Zappa knows having an X on his license may prompt more questions, but he also hopes it inspires other non-binary transgender people to do the same.
I think this is one more step in recognizing trans people to be who they are and that we're legitimate and that we're out there. So it's good.